Objective of this lesson is to get familiar with basic statements in Python. I have Python IDLE open here, and as I mentioned before, the first thing that you see in Python IDLE is the top of the Python, which shows you information about the version of the Python that you have, and then you see these three greater than signs here, which is called a prompt. What you can do at this point is just use simple calculations, such as you can say 3 plus 4 and Python immediately tells you 7, or you can use multiplication operation like 3 times 9 and it will tell you it is 27. You can divide numbers such as 5 divided by 2 and Python shows you 2.5, and you can of course subtract numbers like 6 minus 2 and Python tells you it is 4. You can also type compound statements by using parentheses. For example, I can say what is 2 plus 4 and put them inside parentheses times another parenthesis, which is 3 divided by 2. And of course, when I push the return, Python shows me the result. The next thing that you should know is, what if you have a lot of calculations done and you would like to save them for future use? In that case, you can assign a variable name to each of your calculations. For example, I can say x is equal to 5 plus 6. And in this case, Python does not show me anything, but it remembers the value of x is 11. Then I can say, for example, y is equal to 2 times 4, and it also remembers that. And then if I say x plus y, then Python knows that the value of x is 11 and value of y is 8. So it adds them up and shows you the value of 90. You can also define strings. A string is a series of characters. For example, if I want to say string hello, then all I have to do is put it into a quotation, and when I print it, Python shows me that it is hello. Remember that you can use either a single or double quotation to define a string. So I can use single quotations and say hello here, or use double quotations and say hello here. You can also memorize the value of a string. For example, again, I can say x is equal to dog, and Python remembers that the value of x is equal to dog. You can also use print statement to show different values. For example, I can say simply print 4, which basically I'm asking Python to print the value of 4, which it does. Or I can say print hello, and it does that. And I can also add comma between values, and Python puts them back to back and prints them. For example, I can say print dog, comma 5, comma 3, comma cat. So in this case, I'm asking Python to show me 4 things back to back: dog, and then 5, and then 3, and then cat. So when I push the return, as you can see, Python shows them. I can also use the name of the variables and put them in the print statement. Remember that Python memorized the value of x is dog. So if I say print x, it shows me dog. Remember, you can reuse the name of a variable if you want to. For example, the value of x that Python remembers right now is dog. However, I can simply say, I don't want that, just put x is equal to 3.7. So from now on, the value of x will be 3.7. Let's say z equal to a string John. Let's define another variable and call it age and put it equal to 30. Now I can print a statement like my name is, and put a comma, and then put z in here, and start another string, and my age is, and put a comma, and put the variable age in here. What will be printed is 4 things back to back. The first one would be my name is, then the value of variable z, then and my age is, and then the value of the age. So if I push the return here, you see that it says my name is John and my age is 30. There is one more thing that I would like you to learn in this lesson, and that is, how do you make Python forget about all the variables that it knows up to this point? Whatever you typed up to this point, Python remembered all of them. For example, you had a variable called x, you had a variable called y, you have a variable called z, you have a variable called age. Python remembers all of those, and if you want Python to forget about all of this, all you have to do, go up here into the menus, click shell, and restart the shell. Remember, in this case, if you ask Python to print x, it will give you an error. And the reason is when you restarted Python, all the variables are erased and Python has no value for variable x and it cannot print it. What did you learn in this lesson? You learned that you can use Python like a calculator. You learned how to use variable names to store values. You learned how to define a string, and you also learned that you can use print statement to display values and strings.